Hi, boys and girls. Welcome back to Children's Church Online. Today, we are going to learn that kindness is a fruit of the Spirit. Let's celebrate that God can grow kindness in our lives. So, a couple times now, I've been referring you to my tree, and we've talked about how if this is a tree, okay, the roots come down and that's what connects us to Jesus. And then as the limbs up above grow, that allows us to grow in the way Jesus wants us to be. And we've been talking about all the different fruits of the Spirit. So today we are talking specifically about the fruit of kindness. And fruit is what grows in our lives because of our friendship with God. And that includes kindness. In our Bible story, we'll see what Abraham did when he had some surprise visitors. He showed kindness, and kindness is a fruit of the Spirit. So let's move on to our Bible story to find out more. Before we do, I want you to think about a time when you were hot and what you did to cool off. And I'll give you an example for me. A time when I get really hot is in the summertime when I'm cutting grass. We have a push mower that sort of works, and our yard is kind of hilly, and so when I have to push the push mower on the hills in the hot sun, by the time I'm done, I am very hot. And the thing that helps me most to cool off is a nice cold glass of water. So how about you? Pause the video and talk about something that makes you hot and how you cool off. Okay, how about let's talk about a time when you're hungry and what you do to eat. So again, let me give you an example. I used to run pretty regularly, and I like to run 5K races. And by the time I would be done running a 5K and I would catch my breath again, I would be starving. I would burn off all those calories trying to run a good race, so that by the time I was done, I really was hungry. And the things that would be most appetizing to me when I'm really hungry is a banana and either a plain bagel or Cheerios. Just those plain, bland things are what taste the best to me in that moment. How about you? What is something that you do that makes you really hungry, and what does it make you want to eat? Pause the video and talk about that. Okay, so right now, I want you to imagine that any of the grown-ups that are in the room right now are visitors in your house. And if there isn't any grown-ups in the room, then either make one of the kids be a visitor or grab a couple stuffed animals and make them be the visitor, but you need to have somebody in the room pretending to be a visitor at your house. Okay? Have y'all decided who the visitor is? Perfect. All right. You're going to have the visitor fan themselves, like going like this, and say, "I'm hot." Go ahead. Have the visitor pretend, "I'm hot." And then I need the kids in the room, or whoever's not the visitor, to go around the house and find things for the visitor to help cool them off. Let's talk about some things you could get. You could get an umbrella that would create shade. You could get a cool washcloth or a cool glass of water. Or maybe you have a fan in the ceiling of the room that you're in. You could turn that on to cool things off. So I need you to cool down your visitor, help them not to be hot. Nicely done. You showed kindness by cooling down your visitor. Kindness is a fruit of the Spirit. Let's see how a guy in the Bible showed kindness when he had visitors who felt hot. And I'm going to be reading from the book of Genesis, chapter 18, verses 1 through 4. The Lord appeared to Abraham near the great trees of Mamre, while he was sitting at the entrance to his tent in the heat of the day. Abraham looked up and saw 3 men standing nearby. When he saw them, he hurried from the entrance of his tent to meet them and bowed low to the ground. He said, "If I have found favor in your eyes, my lord, do not pass your servant by. Let a little water be brought, and then you may all wash your feet and rest under this tree." Abraham welcomed his visitors and invited them to keep cool in the shade of his tree. And that was kind. But Abraham did more to show kindness. And did you catch that? Because I already alluded to it. Yeah, he gave the visitors something to comfort their feet. Abraham didn't just give his visitors a foot rest. He washed their feet. Kindness is a fruit of the Spirit, and washing their feet showed God's kindness. But there was another thing the visitors needed. It continues on in verse 5 and says, "Let me get you something to eat, so you can be refreshed and then go on your way. Now that you have come to your servant." "Very well," they answered. "Do as you say." So now I want you to have your visitors pretend that they're hungry. Maybe they're like rubbing their bellies and they could actually be saying, I'm hungry, right? So what could you do? You could get them a snack, get them something to eat, right? Thank you for showing kindness. Let's see what kind of food Abraham gave his visitors when they were hungry. So Abraham hurried into the tent to Sarah. "Quick," he said, "get 3 seahs of fine flour and knead it and bake some bread." Then he ran to the herd and selected a choice tender calf and gave it to a servant who hurried to prepare it. He then brought some curds and milk and the calf that had been prepared and set these before them. While they ate, he stood near them under a tree. Kindness is a fruit of the Spirit. Abraham showed kindness by helping his visitors cool off, washing their feet, and giving them food. We can show kindness too when we find ways to help other people with their needs. Abraham's visitors weren't just people. We think that they were actually angels, and some people today think that maybe one was even God himself. That's pretty amazing because this story happened a long time before Jesus lived on earth. It was very unusual to see God walking around. If you saw someone who needed help, how would it change your view to think of that person as Jesus or an angel? So think about that for a moment. You were pretending that somebody in your room was a visitor, right? And that visitor was hungry and hot, and you were trying to care for their needs, right? Would you have changed how you did that if that visitor had actually been God himself? I wonder if we would treat that person differently. We're not sure when Abraham figured out who his visitors really were, but he was kind anyway, even if he thought they were just regular people. And Jesus said in Matthew 25:40 that when we're kind to other people, it's the same as being kind to him. But kindness doesn't just have to come from us. You see, Abraham's visitors were there because they had a kind message to share with Abraham and his wife Sarah. We're going to skip ahead to verses 10 and 11. Listen to what happened. Then the Lord said, I will surely return to you about this time next year, and Sarah, your wife, will have a son. Now Sarah was listening at the entrance to the tent which was behind him. Abraham and Sarah were already old and well advanced in years, and Sarah was past the age of childbearing. So think about that. Abraham and Sarah were very old, and they didn't think they'd be able to have kids anymore. But God is so kind, he made a way for them to have a son. Sometimes we think kindness is something we just need to try harder at. But kindness is a fruit of the Spirit. That means that God is kind, and the closer we grow in our friendship with God, the more his kindness comes out in each of us. How have you experienced God's kindness? Perhaps those around you have been kind to you, showing God in them. We reflect God's kindness when we stay close to God. Abraham walked closely with God, so he was kind. Kindness is a fruit of the Spirit. So today, we have been learning about how Abraham showed kindness to some strangers, the visitors who came to his house. And it can feel a little awkward to show big kindness to people that you don't know very well. But kindness is often what begins the best friendships. Now, my guess is if you're watching this at home, you are watching this with people that are not strangers to you. They're probably people that you actually know very well. But I need you to, just for this activity, to pretend like it's somebody that you don't know very well, or perhaps even a stranger, somebody that you've just met. And I want you to see if you can do a couple activities. You're going to need a partner in order to do this. And you'll also need a couple supplies that I'm sure that you have around your house. I'm going to show you each one individually, okay? In order to do these activities, you and your partner are going to link arms like this. So if I had a partner, I'd be like this, and then they would put their arm through and hook it to their hip, okay? So the first thing you need to do is stand up and link arms together, okay? Now you are hooked together as a pair. As a pair, you're going to try to tackle a couple different things. The first thing is using some Play-Doh or some clay. So you can pause the video in a minute and try this, but you'll just need to get out some Play-Doh and hook together. You're going to take the Play-Doh and you're going to try to create an apple and a worm. Now think about this. If your arms are hooked together, you each only have one hand in which to work with. So together, you're going to take the Play-Doh and create an apple and a worm. Okay, so pause the video, go grab some Play-Doh, and see if together you and your partner are able to tackle that activity. All right, how was that? Do you have an apple and a worm? How about another thing to try? This time, you're going to need a laundry basket. Okay, I just happen to have a very large laundry basket and some sort of ball. I brought with me today a basketball. Okay, so once again, you and your partner are going to link arms together like this, and together, each of you only having access to one hand, you're going to see if you can get your ball into your basket, okay? If it's pretty easy doing it close, take a couple steps back and try again. And keep backing up further and further and see how far you can go, and together get your basket, or get your ball into the basket. Go ahead and pause the video, see if you can tackle that activity. All right, now, are you and your partner getting pretty comfortable working together at this point? Because the last activity that I'm going to challenge you to do is going to be a little bit more difficult, okay? Now, once again, you're together, linked arms, so you each only have access to one hand, right? Maybe you want to switch sides now. Maybe you want to link on the other side so you have the other hand free, or not, it doesn't matter. All right, for this activity, you're going to get together and you're going to need to take off your shoes and put them back on. And if they have buckles or if they have laces or anything like that, you need to undo them and redo them again. So no just like cheating and taking a sneaker that is tied and taking it off without untying the laces. You have to untie the laces, undo the buckle, undo the Velcro, whatever it is, and then take the shoe off and put it back on and redo it. I think laces would be really tricky with two different hands. Go ahead, pause the video and try that last activity. So, What was hard about doing these simple things with a partner? What was easy or difficult? Sometimes showing kindness is really easy, but sometimes, like in our activity, showing kindness might feel a little awkward. Whenever we're struggling to show kindness, we can ask God for help because kindness is a fruit of the Spirit. We are going to finish our time together today by watching a video about a girl named Lauren. And today we've been learning about kindness being a fruit of the Spirit. And Lauren is going to show us how she shows kindness in this video. Take a look.
Meet Lauren. She's your pretty typical kid. She loves Legos and animals.
These are freshwater fish. Mine is Peaches. My brother's is Green Lantern. My sister's is Uma.
She loves learning.
My favorite subject in school is writing. I did write. This is kind of like a comic book.
She also loves cruising around her basement on her scooter and bouncing on trampolines. Something that Lauren likes to do to show kindness is serving at her local food kitchen.
I saw all the people who didn't have food, so I wanted to help them. My first time I served in community kitchen, I tried it in California, and I wanted to do it here in Loveland. So I told my mom, and she found a place, and she said I can go.
First thing, she meets with her crew to get a plan for the day.
What we need to get done so far.
It feels nice, and it feels like God wants me to do this because it's important that people who don't have very much things, that we need to care for them. I am the drink and dessert person. When I do desserts, I walk back and forth taking down desserts and putting them on a table.
Once everything is set up, they say a prayer before everyone is served.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the food that we are blessed with today. We ask blessings upon everyone that is here, and we ask you to watch over all those. In Jesus' name, amen.
It's time to start serving.
When they start, we have to pour the drinks.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We serve juice, we serve milk, and we serve coffee, hot chocolate. I like how the desserts look, and I like pouring the drinks. I just think it's really cool and fun. And they're always happy when I'm there. That makes me feel good.
Thank you.
Welcome.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Lauren enjoys showing kindness so much, she invites others to serve with her.
My brother wants to go with me, so he'll come next time. God has given me the power to show people that they matter and that it's kind to care for people who need stuff and who are just on the streets, who don't have food, who don't have homes. They need stuff, and I got the power from God to show them that they matter.
What inspired you about the way Lauren showed kindness? After seeing Lauren's kindness, what ideas do you have for how you can show kindness? Now, I'll be honest with you. The activity that she was doing, serving in a soup kitchen, may not be an easy thing for us to participate in right now. COVID has made it a little bit more challenging for us to be able to serve people in those ways. But there are still things that we can do. Here in central Pennsylvania, as you know, we've been getting a lot of crazy snowy weather, right? Is there anybody that lives near you that you could shovel their driveway or shovel their sidewalk for them? Just because we can't necessarily congregate inside with other people, there's still ways that we can find to do things that are kind to other people. And the other thing is, sometimes the hardest people to show kindness to are the people that you live with, right? Those are the ones that are easy to be unkind to. So maybe you can seek out some special ways this week that you can especially show kindness to those that live in your house with you. Lauren knows that kids can show kindness in really neat ways. She found a group of people who needed some extra kindness, and she got her parents to serve with them. Lauren shows how kindness is a fruit of the Spirit. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.